Hi, this is Emma and welcome back to my channel. I'm excited to bring you the 12 Days of Christmas mini-series. For day 4 we're going to be making a Bauble chocolate orange cover. For this project you will need DK yarn, and I'll list the amounts in the description below, a 4mm crochet hook, scissors, darning needle, stitch markers, a little bit of toy stuffing and of course a chocolate orange. Let's begin. To start, we're going to create a magic ring. So we're going to grab our tail of our yarn, wrap it round our fingers to create a cross, flip our fingers over, go under the first loop, pulling the second loop through and securing with a chain. We're going to work 8 half double crochets into the magic ring, so yarn over and pull up a loop. We'll have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. Again, yarn over, insert and pull up a loop, 3 loops, yarn over and pull through all 3. And we'll repeat this until we have 8 half double crochets. At the end we're going to grab our tail and pull on it to close our magic ring, and we will slip stitch to the first stitch to join. If you do find that your magic ring is starting to open, you can just pull on your tail to close it. Moving on to round 2, we are going to chain 1, and this does not count as a stitch, and we'll place 2 half double crochets into every stitch around. So we'll be increasing in every stitch all the way around. Once we get to the end, make sure you do not confuse the slip stitch with a stitch, and we will slip stitch to the first stitch to join. If your magic ring is still opening, again just pull on and we'll secure it at the end when we sew in our ends. We're going to chain 1, and on round 3 we will work 1 half double crochet in the first stitch and 2 half double crochets into the next, and this will be our pattern repeat. So we'll work 1 half double crochet and increase into the next, and repeat this all the way around. And we'll join with a slip stitch at the end. On round 4 we'll chain 1, we'll work 2 half double crochets, so 1 and 2, and we'll place 2 half double crochets into that third stitch. So 2 half double crochets, 1 and 2, and we'll increase into the third, and this will be our pattern repeat all the way around. 2 half double crochets and increase into the third. Finishing the round with a slip stitch to join. Rounds 5 and 6 are worked the same, so we will chain 1 and work 1 half double crochet in every stitch around, slip stitching at the end of each round. And we'll repeat this for 2 rounds. Once we get to the end of round 6, we are going to be changing colours. To change colours, we're going to insert our hook into the stitch to slip stitch, but instead of using the red, we're just going to move that tail out and bring in our new colour. Holding the tails together, we will slip stitch with the new colour. The slip stitch will be baggy, but this will get tightened up as we go. Rounds 7 and 8 are worked the same way, so we're going to chain 1 and work 1 half double crochet in every stitch around, and we'll repeat this for the 2 rows. You will notice that I've not cut off my red as we are coming back to use that after. So working the 2 rows of just 1 half double crochet. So we're changing colour again, so we're going to insert our hook to slip stitch, hold the grey out the way, grab our red and make sure that slip stitch is tight from below, and pulling through to slip stitch again. We'll chain 1 to secure, and we're going to snip off our silver because we no longer need that, and I am going to tie the ends together just to keep them secure before we can sew them in at the end. Rounds 9 and 10 are worked the same way, so we've already chained 1 and we're going to work 1 half double crochet in every stitch around, and we'll repeat this for the 2 rows. On to round 11, we're going to chain 1 and we'll work a single crochet, so that's insert and pull up a loop. We'll have 2 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through 2. So again, we're going to insert and pull up a loop, 2 loops, pull through 2. We're now going to work an invisible decrease, so you'll see these on the top of your stitches. You'll have your front loop and your back loop. The invisible decrease uses the front loops only, so inserting into the front loop of the first stitch and the front loop of the second stitch. We'll then yarn over and pull up a loop, and we'll have 2 loops on our hook, and we'll finish the single crochet off as normal, and it's turned 2 stitches into 1. So again, 2 single crochets, and then we'll decrease in the next, so using the front loops of the 2 stitches to single crochet them together. And we'll repeat this all the way around, so 2 single crochets and a decrease. Once we've come to the end of the row, we're going to cut our yarn and we will work an invisible join. So that's pulling the hook out, and we're going to pop a needle onto our tail. You'll have your tail coming out of the last stitch that we created, and if we just locate the first 2 stitches, the invisible join is going to create a false loop over that first stitch. So we will insert our needle under both loops of the second stitch of the round. We'll just pull it through. We'll then locate the last stitch and where the tail comes out, insert our needle directly down the middle, picking up both loops of that stitch. I'm just going to move the tail out of the way so we can see our first stitch, and we're going to thread our needle down the centre of the first stitch of the round, again picking up both loops of that stitch, so the last stitch and the first stitch, and we just want to pull it tight enough so that the false loop that we are creating is the same size as all of our other stitches. And we can then just go ahead and weave in our ends before cutting the yarn. So that is the body of the bauble complete. I'm just going to pop it onto the chocolate orange, as when we are assembling the cap it is easier on the orange. Just move that to one side, and we are going to make the handle. So I'm going to pop a slip knot on our hook, and I'm going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I'm going to add an extra chain for fastening off, and we'll snip our yarn. And I'm just going to tighten up that last chain just to secure it, and this makes the handle for the cap, and we'll just pop that to one side. Moving on to making the actual cap, we are going to start off with a magic ring. So wrapping the yarn around our fingers, grabbing the second loop underneath the first and secure with a chain. And into that magic ring we are going to work 6 single crochets. So that's just yarn over, pull up a loop, we'll have 2 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through 2. Once we've finished our 6 single crochets, I'm going to pull on the tail to close the magic ring. We will not be joining with a slip stitch, we're going to work continuous rounds, so we are going to single crochet directly into that first stitch. And then we'll work an increase into the second stitch, so that's placing 2 single crochets into the same stitch. And this will be our pattern repeat, so we want to repeat that 2 more times. Single crochet in the next stitch, increase into the stitch after. 1 more time, single crochet, and then an increase. We've completed our increase row, and we're going to be working 1 straight row, but we're going into the back loops only. So on the top of your stitches you'll notice V stitches, you'll have your front stitch and your back stitch. And we'll be working 1 single crochet into the back loop of every stitch for this round. Finishing our last stitch, and what you can see is by working into the back loops it's created a ridge where the unworked finish loop is, and this will just allow the cup to curl downwards. Okay, now that we've finished this round we will snip our yarn, leaving a long tail for joining. Just pull that loop through. We can then attach a needle to the tail, and we are going to close this round off with an invisible join. So we're going to locate that second stitch of the round, going under both loops, pushing through, going back down the centre of the last stitch, picking up the 2 stitches, and then down the centre of the first stitch, picking up both loops, and then we'll pull it tight enough so that the false loop is the same size as the rest of the stitches. So before we sew the cap to the bauble, we are going to attach the handle. So I've just threaded one end of my chain through, and I'm just going to pass it through one side of the magic ring and pull it off my needle, being careful not to pull the chain through to the other side. And again, thread the other tail onto my needle, and the opposite side of the magic ring I'm just going to thread the tail through to the wrong side of our work. Once we've pulled it through, we'll just remove the needle, and we're just going to knot the ends together just to secure that, but we don't want to pull the knot too tight that the chain comes through to the back of our work. So we'll just secure with a knot, and we're not going to cut these off as we're going to use the tails to act like stuffing. So if your tails are quite short, you may need to add a little bit of extra stuffing once we sew our cap to the bauble. We'll now sew the last row of our bauble cap to the top of our bauble around row 1. Once we've got so far around the bauble, we can then push our ends in to stuff the cap. And if your ends are too small and you need extra stuff in, you can just pop a little bit of toy stuff in there to fill it up further. We'll then finish sewing up the gap, and once we've done that, we will then fasten off and sew in all of our ends. And this is your bauble complete. You can decide to change the colours of your bauble instead of just using red and silver, and you can make them any colours you wish. I hope you've enjoyed this video for the bauble chocolate orange cover. Thank you for watching. Please do consider liking and subscribing, it really does help the channel out, and I hope to see you on day 5. Bye!